because I'm in it, so I want to know the details of it. You know what I mean? Like
All the secrets, all the smoke and yeah,
I
smoke
know
and
how
mirrors,
hard it is,
isn't it?
and I'm also a fan. I mean, I get so
Hey.
excited about seeing all of our work and how did you pull that off? How did you like it's just incredible how all of the departments come together to make this happen. So believe me,
Yeah.
I'm very excited to talk to you guys and
Oh, thank
hell of a
you.
team here, I must say. Um,
Cool.
I wanted to ask, have Susie, have you worked in Italy before?
I worked in Italy before. No, I hadn't. I'd purely holidayed there and then enjoyed the wine and the food. I did enjoy the wine and the food on the
Yeah.
job as well, but
Yes.
that's a different story. That's perhaps not for this podcast.
I'm
Um,
jealous. I'm so jealous. So
yeah,
then,
it's a tough job sometimes, isn't it? I'm
yeah,
very
yeah,
lucky, aren't we, to do what we do, to get
scouting.
sent. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
scouting with a feeder of a location manager as well. He would take us to the best places hidden
oh,
up in the back of beyond, and we'd open a door and there'd just be like this amazing spread for us all to have. Yeah,
oh,
so yeah, it
yeah,
was a tough job,
tough, tough gig.
Yeah.
So then, how do you reach out to Cynthia and you start building this art department in a city and everything? And I would think one of your priorities, besides having the best decorator, is
Yeah,
has the paint department on this, right?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
But look,
how does
we're in the right place. We're in the,
yeah,
we're going to the right place. We're the two really good things is that we're making Rome Rome. I'm not
right,
trying to make Belfast Berlin or Paris, I don't know, Washington. We're
right.
making Rome, so that's good. It's contemporary. That's good. And Rome just offers so much gorgeous business to us, and as does Cinecittà, the
Mhm.
infamous studio. Just driving through the doors every morning made me feel excited. I mean, I'm sure,
Yeah.
Cynthia, you've worked there many times, but I still got an absolute thrill driving through the doors. And our offices were opposite stage 5, which is Fellini stage. So you just
Oh,
felt via osmosis we were going to do something. And then what you get by Cinecittà is the most amazing craftsmanship, like the most amazing painters
mm.
and construction teams. So we were already ahead of the game because we had those to delve into that wealth of experience. They've done a few Sistine Chapels before, so
Right.
we were able to use the painting team, of which the HOD was a fantastic lady called Paola. I don't know her last name, I've forgotten it, but she ran a
Borski.
really yeah, a tight team of male and female painters, and they spent 10 weeks painting the Sistine Chapel. And it would be great to go during the build to rock up on set and hear the tunes on the radio blaring out. And it was extraordinary to watch that happen.
Oh, I bet. I mean, and in the recreating of this, I was like, the painting of it, or is it like graphics that are like projected onto the wall so that they can get it precise? Like for
Yeah, no, the painting of the Sistine Chapel was some flattage that had been in storage for a while, so it had a certain amount of work already on it. And then when we put it together, they had to do all that really delicate stuff of the joins because it's 8x4 sheets of ply that had
right.
been in the back of a warehouse for quite a few years. So we pulled them out, we joined them together, and they did that exquisite. Just brought everything up. The mice had a little nibble on some of the
Yeah.
plaster work, and I don't know when it had last been out of storage, but they'd painted it originally, I think 10 years ago or whenever. So they just know their stuff, they absolutely know how to do it. And weirdly, that was between us, that was like the most simplest element of the film was the Sistine Chapel.
Really?
That, well, in a way, it's a square
Right.
rectangular room. We changed the architecture a little bit to give us this image we're looking at here. It looks like it could be in Congress or Parliament. The
Mhm.
story isn't is a universal story of power, really, and I think the idea that this could be set in many different places. It happens to be set in a
In the
conclave, but I like the idea of opposing factions. So we built this area in the Sistine Chapel. We took away a bit of the altar so that we could have this opposing factions. feeling, the slightly more argumentative side, debating almost element of a conclave. So as I was saying, this doing the Sistine Chapel was A to B, but it was all the other elements that we enjoyed, and the building of the Casa Santa Marta and our jigsaw of the Vatican City, basically.
Cynthia, this image to me of all of the tables set and the like crisp linens that you have on there and
Yes.
the contrast and everything and the chairs and um
No,
it's beautiful to me. So
yes, everything is perfect actually. We obviously we drew it all out and built the tables and the cloth. Susie and I thought that it would be better if we had this long runner instead of like a little tablecloth, a short tablecloth, which is usually what you get in this Sistine conclave on the conclave table. So I think this gave it a modern look. So it's, you know, a conclave that's happening nowadays. And we dressed it, and we had a great team to set it up. If you see the hat and the Bible and the ballot sheets and everything, that's all measured perfectly out. We stenciled out the shapes so that it was easy to take off and put back. So the prop team had stenciled the shapes of the objects on the table per cardinal, and they would set it up really quickly. And that happened because we had several scenes of where we had you know, all these cardinals sitting, and then the
explosion, wasn't it? We had 4 goes at the explosion. Yeah.
So yes, do you tell them about the explosion, what we did. See, this is the explosion. That all happened in one day. So we had, you know, to clean up and prep and everything like really fast and get everybody back in to do the other take. And we did 4 takes on the same day. So that was a quick one.
It was like a military precision, wasn't it? Of the prop team just coming in, like we'd do the explosion, reset, all the cardinals move out, and the prop team sweep in. It was beautiful to watch. You know, it's like choreographed prop men. Brilliant.
It is.
Exactly.
And safety wise, when you have something like that too, everyone's kind of on edge, and you're just trying to get your set reset.
Yeah.
Get the actors out of here so I can do my stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Get our elbows out. Yeah.
I want to ask about I took some of the images from your Art Directors Guild presentation, and you have the drawings here, and you have a photo of your model, which you have plastic. Is that plastic?
I know, it's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. It is. It's plastic. So we printed onto the plastic. It just helps with people to see through the set. So obviously we had one other wall. It just gives it was a really useful tool rather than a white card model. We did this. It helped with the DOP to have views, because at one stage we were going to build the window where the explosion happens and then try and factor that in and into the CG. In the end, we didn't, you know, it was all CG, the explosion. Well, the window explosion, although we did have real special effects with their explosion on a scissor lift, sort of as high as they could go. But it was just weirdly, this is the beauty about working with different art departments in different countries, because everyone does it slightly differently from A to B. There's so many different ways to tell a story. And when I rocked up, I was the same. I was like, what's this thing here? This is amazing. And I think this is pretty standard. Rather than a white card model, it's these printed onto cards and printed onto this acetate, basically, onto this sort of plastic perspex models. Yeah.
I must be living in the dark ages because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, it's funny, isn't it?
It's like models. I mean, I love model making, and I know on bigger, you have to make the models. A lot of it's 3D now, but model making is so important in the process and giving people something to really physically look at. It's just
you're so right. And I think a lot, like I think in an art department, we're all much more spatially aware and we can read drawings, but some director, and that's not a good or a bad thing, but some directors, producers have to see it physically. And white card, I mean, I'm an absolute fan of any form of model. Obviously, this is amazing, but white card models are sometimes really beneficial because you cut to the chase of it's
Yeah.
very clear, you know, and it's just tonal rather than with all the bells and whistles. Yeah.
No, I love that. I caught that detail and I was like, oh, I gotta ask about that.
Yeah.
We start
I mean,
out.
that's the other thing. We used all sorts of technology because we used, you know, it was put into SketchUp and Rhino as well, the set, so that we could look it on a computer because the production team were quite international. So the director was German, the DOP's French. So sometimes during prep, we weren't all in the same place. So it was about how to quickly get answers or during meetings or Zooms, how to explain what we're doing. And sometimes it meant that it would be a SketchUp, you know, model that I would walk through on a Zoom to help explain. Other times that I would literally be holding my phone over that model to show things. Yeah.
Because you have a rendering here.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, and then the actual here of
I know.
is
They're
so
like
beautiful.
identical.
It's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
So it's quite funny because I had the most amazing concept artist called Ricardo, and the DOP would get so pissed off with me because Ricardo is very astute at lighting his builds basically. So I would do a really bad scribble, he would elevate to this, and then look how he's lit that.
Yeah.
His rendering is so beautifully lit, and Stefan, the DOP, were going, "Why are you doing this to me?"
Yeah.
I've now got it, you know, it's beautiful, but unfortunately there are some ways that you can light obviously on a still image on a computer that you can't light for real in the thing, but it's all about giving an essence and inspiration to all of us. So yeah.
When Cynthia, when you're selecting, because these spaces, unlike the Sistine Chapel, aren't really seen. Like did you guys have a like if you're on a mob movie, you get a mobster to like help you out. Did you have priests and everything like giving you details of what's in the private rooms?
Well, nobody really knows what's on the private rooms. There is something online, and I mean, you can see just minimal things, but we did have a consultant. He's like a priest. And so not so much for the rooms, but, you know, on how to do certain things. He was always there present and indicating whether, you know, it was correct or not. Obviously, we'd rehearse it before and make sure that, you know, like the cutting of the ring of the Pope's hand, if that's the correct way to do it, because, you know, we don't really know that it happens this way, but it does have to happen that way. There's no other way, because they do take the ring off the finger, and then once the stem is off the ring, then the sede vacante, they say sede vacante, that means there is no pope, and the Christians are without a leader, without a pope, without their kind of wandering souls until the new pope is elected. So there is this phase, which is very important in Christianity, where there is nobody representing
Right.
the Pope,
Leaderless.
you know.
Yeah.
So this is important, and obviously the consultant was there, and the same for the altar, and the same goes with the ballots that go into the stove. All these details had to be, you know, worked out and discussed thoroughly before, you know, going ahead.
Yeah. Also, I think it's important to say, though, that this behind the scenes element of the conclave is where Edward was keen for us to make our own reality up. And that's a real gift to us as an art department, because so we researched, and we were as sincere and authentic with what we knew about the sort of front of house of the conclave that you can find online of how that happens. But the behind the scenes really helped play into our story of intrigue and secrecy and this thriller-esque vibe, this 70s, peculiar thriller that we underneath it has a slight influence of. So the sort of widescreen, dark corners, how can we bring that into this film? And that gave us the opportunity to design the Casa Santa Marta like a bunker, like a prison, conclave means to be locked in. So we absolutely played this, and it's the opposite of the ornate ancient Rome. This is contemporary modern Rome, and it's the clash and the juxtaposition of all this that is going on throughout the story. And this also enables us to play with color and depth and all those other beautiful things that we like playing with in the art department. So it was great having a director who was happy for us to sort of not make up frivolously, but to be mindful of let's make this a dark thriller. How can we do this in a visual sense? He's very graphic, so that played to our advantage as well.
I think too, you get to play with such gorgeous materials, but like this hallway that we're looking at, the marble hallway, it's subtle, but it's very impactful how you have, the light marble, the dark marble, and then the lighting is very, everything place, like you were saying, symmetrical, and then like I believe it's a red door at the back. I can't.
Yes, all the doors were red with a little squares in it, which does give an essence to a imitation of a prison door, but it's actually I was really inspired by Carlo Scarpa, another Italian architect who has those brilliant, round or square windows and very brutal fascist style architecture, and we absolutely played with that. And no sort of ornaments, no architraving, really very basic, again as a juxtaposition to the fabulous Sistine chapels and the painted ceilings and the massive staircases. This is like to see our cardinals in this environment was again a jolt, because I think you expect to see cardinals in cloisters or ancient cathedrals, but it's interesting to see them on their phones vaping around the back of the staircase, eating their pasta and not having to tuck their serviette in so they don't get it on their costumes. Yeah.
Is this painted marble or is this real marble?
This is brilliant. I love this. This is again the most amazing craftsman. This is a combination of our fantastic graphics team. So we took some inspiration from the Euro Centre, which is a area in Rome of the business centre that's very modern. And we nearly filmed there, actually. We would have loved to have filmed there, but for one reason or other, we didn't. But we were inspired by that very modern contemporary design. So the graphics team went there, took some images of the wall. We printed off, I think, 7 different images onto vinyl that then is stuck onto these individual bits of ply, MDF. And then the painters glazed over the top of them. And then that floor is hand painted and glazed. And that's just plywood.
It's hard to do good marble.
I know. I know. Yeah. And it was it's sometimes necessity does breed that invention. And we were really, this isn't a big budget movie. We had a boundary to work to. And it was like, in some respects, it forced me not to have too much architraving because half of me couldn't afford it. But you put a gap space in. So there's a little gap space between the marble sections. So those little details sort of take over. And before you know it, actually, this will work. And we only had 7 repeats, but I don't think you noticed the repeats.
No.
And then in some places, it's just by accident, they look like angel wings. There's a particular shot of one of the cardinals stood in front and it just looks like wing, little things like that. And being able to use the craftsmanship to paint those doors like, I think we sprayed them like they were car door, a car sort of dealer did it. So all those little things add up in the end.
Oh, yeah. And then, with Cynthia, getting to create these environments and then the personality that you have. I think I have his bedroom too, but this is like the dressing room of the Pope.
Yes, it's the dressing room. This is the Room of Tears, which is a little room off the Sistine where the newly elected Pope goes and he dresses and he puts on the red shoes, slippers, and then he'll wear he will decide his future name, and then he will take a cloth off this rack that we built here, and then here on the rack there'll be all different sizes of cloths, because obviously nobody knows who's going to be elected and what size he will be. So it's this is why there are so many out here, and this was just like in an abandoned farmhouse close to Cinecittà. It was totally white and dirty, an abandoned room, and Susie turned it into this beautiful red room. So we dressed it with the lights and the furniture, which is obviously kind of minimal, and then we'll find a table with all the accessories that the Pope will need. So that goes from the crucifix to the shoes, the shirt, and so on. And it'd be really simple. And there's a huge crucifix in the middle of the room too. That's a floor one. I mean, obviously this is we had to kind of really keep it sacred, minimal, but also strong. And I think we did a good job here, because it looks great.
It looks great. I mean, and I think your advantage of using the reds and the whites and the contrasting throughout the film and your dressing and in your design is just so visually impactful in every scene. And whether they're wearing red or the red on the wall, it's always there. It's so great. So
yes.
I think it's interesting as well with the red color, because that Room of Tears is usually white, but that just wasn't right for this beat of the story. We wanted it to the thread of red is quite important throughout the whole film, and the final scene is in the Room of Tears, and to have it red, it's womb-like, it's like a heart, it's like the next, like the color of blood. Red is such a powerful color. I think it has more to say than most others. So the idea of red on red on red that we've played throughout the process. Because someone's just calling me. I just got 2 minutes. Hang on one moment.
I want to talk to Cynthia too about
Yes.
this. I have his room. Where's his room? Well, we have
Okay,
room
here.
and his room here. And how,
Yes.
and I mean, I know that you take a vow. I don't think priests take a vow of poverty, but I know nuns do.
No,
the
yes, they
beauty
do.
of this.
Yes, they do kind of take a vow of poverty. So the rooms are basically one big room, and then Susie will explain it was like a jigsaw puzzle. So some rooms were bigger and others were smaller. That was depending on the extravaganza of the cardinal himself. So here, Cardinal Tremblay is not interested in luxury or anything. So he got the basic room. So this is the really stark basic room, and with just a few elements. And the elements here are a bedspread, which every cardinal gets a different bedspread. But here, so he's got the screen, and then basically nothing else.
Yeah.
Besides, the lamp and so on. And he's like really desperate because he doesn't know how to carry on with the conclave. And so we thought that less was more. He had to kind of really, really be in the essence of this marble room, like into nothing. I mean, he had nothing he could, really play around with. So this was our choice, that he had nothing, and just the bed and the couch, these small lights, and while the others got just maybe something more, and their rooms were bigger. So for us, he had the simplest room.
Yeah.
And this was the choice.
Do you
We had
find it I find it very hard to pick one lamp. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like, I find it very hard.
I start out with the lighting.
Yeah.
So consider that, the Sistine Chapel also will be dark. This whole Marta, all the rooms, all the corridors were practically all in the dark, because even if, it is in the daytime, they close all the shutters, they close all the windows. And we actually did some extra holes in the blinds that are in the bedrooms. So just small there. You
Yeah.
see the little holes, just these little holes of lights only that light will come through, filter through. So they were smaller, and Edward wanted them a little bit bigger. So we started drilling the Venetian blinds to make these holes slightly bigger, so that he could get a little bit of light through from the outside. And this really
And
gave
the best thing is they end up looking like bars of a prison as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
by chance. Yeah. But
mean, that
Cynthia
is-
is an absolute amazing lighting designer. So like she knows everything there is about any sort of lights. Like she would open her warehouse door, and I would just be like, like angels singing, everything, just such great choices as well.
It's
Yes,
hard. It's
really
hard
important.
too when you know that your practical is going to be lighting the set. I mean, that's most, and the pressure sort of gets on you of like, this is it. Like this is
Yeah.
what we got.
Yes. I mean, it has to be a team,
Yeah. Yeah.
It had to be a team. We had 3 people on. One of the guys was even working at night. It was like a major job, especially for the canteen scene, with all those lights on the tables and with the batteries here. So
Yeah.
there was no cable. So we had to completely redo the whole battery system, because it wasn't enough. I mean, it had to last more than 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were there
the
for
whole
ages,
station.
weren't we there? Yeah.
So that was a lot of work too. And all the lights. I mean, yes, my priority is the lighting. The first thing I do is I get all the lights, as many lights as I can find.
This canteen, is this a set or is this a location that you've dressed?
This is a military
Canteen, isn't it?
Canteen. It's the canteen of the militaries of a certain area in Rome, and they use it. They use it as a canteen. Obviously, it wasn't. It didn't look like this, and it had to be completely repainted, completely
sure.
dressed,
Yeah.
I'm
completely
sure you
done.
I think they
transformed it.
probably quite liked it how we left it, because when we turned up, I mean, the reason we went here is for that ceiling.
Hmm.
Lovely, low, and the pillars are quite interesting as well, but it wasn't this colorway. And it was quite a number for us to do, but I think they kept it, which is quite fun.
Yes, they were very happy. They even kept the big crucifix that we built, the nice
brilliant
one. Yes.
Because the monochromatic works so well. I mean, you have the crisp white linens and then the red chairs, and then in this scene they're all in the black. So it's like shadows moving through. It's such a gorgeous scene.
It's so funny, isn't it? Revisiting things like this, because you remember not necessarily the struggle, but the little mini challenges that you have on the way to get to shots like this. And then, 18 months later, here we are talking about it. But I remember running up to this, Cynthia and I had to really plead with the producers to let us have the red chairs.
Yes, yes. I mean,
it was ridiculous. Yeah.
Seems like a no-brainer.
I know. I know.
Because they wanted it monochromatic. They didn't want to bring the red in.
No, it was more from
no, they had different colored chairs.
Yeah, they had horrid grey ones, and the
but
grey
they were
ones were
mixed.
cheaper than the red ones. Exactly.
You don't know. You don't know. It's just,
and it's so
I got them
ridiculous.
on sale. I got them on sale, and I can't return them. So we're gonna have to use the red ones. That's what I was.
No, it's just hilarious when you. It's like an important lesson for just moving forward, is to stick to your guns. You gotta when you've got it, you know it. We knew it. We knew it. It's ridiculous that we even had to have a little fight about it.
there's always that give and take, and I think too, when you work with people and you're saying like you have people from all over and probably different languages and everything, and you're like, no, this just let us handle that.
Yeah,
I know I don't know you, but just let me. I
I
got it.
know.
Uh,
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
it.
I learned a lot of sign language
Yeah,
in Italy.
a lot of Italian sign language, I bet.
Yeah.
The we're in the theater scene when he's talking to them, and you have these like deep teal. Is it deep? Because I have this
Yeah.
image too, which they look a completely different color, but
Yeah.
they're
The
so
grey has
beautiful.
played with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're sort of green in reality.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that this whole set is all about restraint from us because it's a gift. We saw it on a recce, and Edward, myself, and Stefan, the DOP, we just knew we had to somehow incorporate this. You can just the hats, the
Yeah.
zucchettas that the guys are wearing are just mimicked in the shape of the chairs and everything. And like it was for us, it was about restraint because it's graphic enough. We shouldn't. We there's nothing more. I think literally we did a tea trolley for the nuns to be wheeling out, but it was about holding back and just letting the other departments sing here. Really this was one of a gift of a location, and it was about holding our nerve, and in that we didn't really have to a little light. And there's another shot, I don't know if you've got it, where you can see a light. There's a bit of light leakage through the doors, and it looks like a couple of crucifixes. Again, a brilliant collaboration with a fantastic DOP, Stefan. That he like the collaboration with him was utmost, in that even like we were talking earlier about the practical lights that he had to use. And in our Casa Santa Marta, how everything comes from those fluorescent lights. We actually spoke with him, and all our windbags, the false ceilings, the fabric ceilings, we chose a particular fabric. So there is a bit of, he lit through the ceiling. So in that long corridor, that's all that corridor is windbags. So
Wait, this corridor?
somewhere there. Here we go.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's not a painted ceiling, that's a fabric ceiling, although it looks like a real
Oh, yeah.
ceiling. It's able to put a little bit of ambient light through that ceiling to help the fluorescent lights. And he does that in all these rooms, basically. And there's even a really cheeky scene that Edward did. Because of scheduling, we hadn't put the fluorescent lights up. And when Cardinal Lawrence goes to speak to John Lithgow's character, and they have that little bit of a fight, you see Cardinal Lawrence leave John Lithgow's room, and you'll see the fluorescent
There's no
lights aren't
light.
There's no lights.
there because we hadn't finished dressing that corridor. But
Feel
they,
like
for schedule reasons, they had to do it, and we all said, "Well, we'll never see up the corridor." But in actual fact, if you're smart, you'll see that where's the lighting coming from, and it's coming from these windbags,
I
basically.
feel like I would have not been happy about that.
Yeah, it's like, again, like you sort of have to hold your nerve and realize, well, we can't stop the filming schedule.
Yeah.
And it actually looked good. It looked okay. And we were the only ones that would really know. So,
The
we
thing
haven't
of
had
it
any
is,
letters
like,
yet.
don't be, but to me, then I'm like, well, if you're going to be sneaky about that, what else are you going to be sneaky about? Like,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
trust, you have to have that trust there of like,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
it makes you nervous.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
this scene, I mean, the wallpaper, I think, is the real hero.
Yeah.
Love it. I love this
Yeah.
gold wallpaper you have, and then these warm shades and lamps that you have
Yeah.
here is really
Yes.
beautiful against these huge white hats that they
Yeah.
are all wearing. Is this build?
No,
Oh,
this
I'd love
is
to say it was a
Palazzo
build. No.
Barberini.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This-
this is Palazzo Barberini,
You see,
which is it's this huge palazzo. It's even a museum. Part of it is a museum. It has this enormous two beautiful staircase. One staircase is of Bernini, and the other staircase is of Borromini. So it's the two architects, the Renaissance architects. So one is a square staircase, and the other one is an oval staircase, which are wonderful. In between there, these rooms, and this is one of, it's really big, really tall. It has a fantastic ceiling and basically empty. So we did the dressing, and there's this huge 3-meter cross, wooden cross, which we can't see in this image, but there is an enormous cross there. And with the chorus, and it's behind Ralph Fiennes' platform there, rostro. So there was quite a bit of work over here. I mean, even though it doesn't look like there's a lot of work, but there was quite a bit of work, especially
This
this
is
huge cross.
a classic case of hiding things. You know, when you go to a location, there'll be some modern business, you know, I think
TVs
some
in
modern
there.
radiators. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was more like just taking the edge off the ugly contemporary, building some bleachers and allowing the costumes, again, another collaboration, because the costumes in the movie absolutely sing, and our work is to let the characters inhabit their costumes in the environments. And again, I guess this is one of my favorite scenes with the music as well. It's extraordinary.
Did I have, and I don't want to forget this question. So when you go into these locations, maybe it's normal for Italy and Rome, but when you go into these locations and you have a staircase that is, you know, studied, and people are like, you're not letting grips go up and down there, right? Like what do you got?
No,
Like
they do.
they do?
Yes, because it has 3 staircases, this building. I mean, it's enormous. So, and they go up the main staircase. Actually, we try to ask for a lift or some sort of a support, you know, to bring the stuff up. But no, I mean, the main staircase are usually used, yes.
I mean, I would
But
think a lot of the buildings or locations you're going to have architectural elements that are irreplaceable and, you know, part of history. So
yes, but they're marble staircases, and you know, nothing's really going to happen to them. So they're commonly used.
I don't know.
I think we've all had that, but they were quite good. Like when we went to Caserta in Naples, the beautiful marble, massive staircase. There's lots of security. There's lots of people. Yeah, this place here. I mean, I would love to tell you I built that, but hey, no.
I had a feeling, but you scouted it. I mean, this is you know, you have to have these locations. You don't have the budget for this, but like you have to have locations like this to show the grandeur of
exactly.
The world. So
exactly, and you know, we're film crews. We know how to be respectful as much as you can. So
absolutely.
I'm sure there was the floorboard was everywhere. All the corners. I when I go back just to this to ask a question. Do you have Cynthia, do you have trouble finding quantity? Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of chairs, and there's over like
yes, there's a lot, even for the red chairs and even for the Sistine. Yes, I do have so it's a research that has to begin ahead of time, and it is a problem. So I mean, I'm not going to say it's easy to get 120 chairs all the same, just like that.
It's hard. It's hard there. It's hard here too. It's hard. Quantity is hard these days, and I mean, prop houses have as much as you can, but they can't keep like the certain styles in quantity all the time. I mean, it's just you can't do that.
Yeah, it's difficult, but you know, some things are good reproductions. So like the Sistine chairs, those are beautiful wooden chairs, reproductions. We had in stock a certain amount, but we had to buy the other. And also for the furniture of the bedrooms of the cardinals, all that furniture had to be ordered way ahead. Yes, it was made, you know, for us. They built it for us.
What was your prep on this?
How much did we have? Like 3 months?
About 4 months. 3 or 4, yeah. 3 or 4 months. I'd been scouting probably 6 months before then, a couple of weekends. I was on a job in the UK, and I came over maybe 4 times during the summer of 22. And then we got down to business in October, January,
Mm,
yeah, maybe
yes.
end of September, October time, yeah, 22.
Never
And
enough, but
then
that's a nice prep.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, this,
no, but you have to think there's Christmas and all the holidays in
oh yeah,
between. So, I mean,
lose
it
time.
was,
I mean, even a
uh,
Yeah.
3 day, even a 3 day weekend, you lose that
Yeah.
day, or yeah.
yeah. No, in Europe you lose like 3 weeks in Christmas.
Oh, well,
Yeah, it's not
I
three
can't
days.
help you there.
Mm.
This image we're looking at of the staircase, of the stairs going up and down. I,
Mm.
did you scout this and see this
Yeah.
active? You could
Yeah.
see, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's
And
gorgeous.
this area that we nearly filmed a lot more here. This is the Euro area, the business district of Rome, that has these amazing conference centre and exhibition places. And this is probably, I think, in this building somewhere along the way is where we found the inspiration to our marble panels. I think this is where we took some
Yes. Mm, mm.
inspiration for. But again, this is the beauty of storytelling. Is I think in this film you'll see there are so many different ways to get from ground floor up to the first or second floor. You can go by a lift, you can go by these stairs. There's some other stairs. There's, some blue stairs. There's some triangular stairs. There's more action takes place on a staircase, but that's all part of the intrigue. And again, another thing I don't think you question.
No,
Mm.
not at all. I mean, to me, I'm like, well, they have that grand staircase for the people, and this is probably their back stairs, and look how gorgeous it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Did either of you have a favorite set?
Well, I mean, these are all beautiful places. I mean, besides the canteen there with the with the military guys. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not like my favorite, but it was fun to work there. It was fun, to change the whole look of it. So that was fun, even though it's not my favorite place. Caserta, which is the huge grand staircase, is one of my favorite places to go to shoot. That's wonderful. And also EUR. That's
Yeah.
those are those are fascinating sets. They look, they look really good on screen,
Yeah,
I think.
we
Mm,
really do. I love all of
yeah.
it. Um, Susie, do you have a favorite that you
Yeah, I
think?
do. And I think it's our Casa Santa Marta, because I think it's the opposite to what you'd think should be in a film about cardinals. I really enjoyed playing
Right.
with the juxtaposition, because it like just all the little details, like the key cards, all the
Yeah.
modernity that we brought into this
Right.
ornate, ancient, I like the clash of it. So I enjoyed what we achieved. And also we only had one studio at Cinecittà, so we built the Sistine Chapel right as close to one side as we could. So this set is sort of like wrapped around. It's a bit like an Escher drawing.
Hmm.
So it sort of wraps around. I wanted the longest corridor, so that corridor is the same length as the Sistine Chapel, and then we put all the rooms at the end, and it like all those flats are on wheels that we moved in and out like a concertina to make them feel like different suites for each cardinal. And it's obviously about the end product and the look and the collaboration with everybody, but it also feels really satisfying that we did it in the time for the money. We found that sweet spot between those,
Right.
what productions give you. So, and it was just an enjoyable, it was, it was a challenging, but ultimately very rewarding project, I think.
I would think so. I mean, I would think just visually what you've created, even in something that's like the Sistine, but to put like this element in there and create this is so beautiful. I mean, such a beautiful statement.
Thank you. And it's again about having a director with a very clear vision, who's very adept at expressing what he wants to achieve you know, I'm very aware that when we storytell, sometimes it can be a committee decision of telling a story, and it's much. I find it's stories are more powerful when they're told from one person, whether it's the writer or the director. You know, it's great when you have writer directors, and Edward was involved in, although we had a fantastic script from Peter Strawn, Edward was also involved in some tweaks to it. So his storytelling vision was very clear, and we were able to respond to that. Every HOD, you know, he really used us as a collaborative creative team, which just upped our enthusiasm, I think, for the job. And the fact that he is so visual for an art department is great. You know, bring it. We'll play with your graphic frames and your compositions. You know, what else can we give you? So we're constantly trying to give him more to play with. You know, he was a very prepped director who knew what he wanted, and but was very accepting of suggestions as well.
Last question, and I'll let you girls go. Was it hard coordinating the reds of wardrobe with the reds of your linens and carpet, and like, because it's all you can't, it's impossible to get the same thread. You know what I mean? But it looks like it.
Yeah.
It looks like you did it. Like, how did you do that?
I think also it's about not being absolutely the same. I think I don't think we ever intended to be the same, more a complementary red. To ultimately the Cardinals robes were the main red of the show. You know, they're the thread. That red goes through everything, and we complemented that sometimes with exactly the same, and other times with all these different tones. And I think and textures. And I think, Cynthia, hopefully you'd think the same, is that we chose things with slightly different textures as much as tones. And then a brilliant DP who was able to play with that as well.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, it just looks so seamless. You made it look so seamless in this. And please know that that's such a compliment. If anyone gave that to me, I'd be like, oh my God, are we kidding?
No, we really appreciate it. It's lovely that people are seeing, you know, it's lovely to be acknowledged and for people to see this, and also to have the questions that you've asked us as well, because people have really seen it, and it feels good. So thank you.